March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month, and this month is especially difficult here at KTVU.
One of our colleagues, Carrie Lewis, passed away last week after an 18-month battle with colon cancer. She was just 46 years old. Carrie had been with the Fox family for 20 years, working in the sales department here at KTVU.
In honor of Carrie, we want to spend some time this morning talking about colon cancer and why screenings are so important. Joining us live in studio, Dr. Venook from the University of California, San Francisco. Doctor, thank you for coming in and taking the time.
Sure.
Let's talk about the death rate for colon cancer, specifically among adults 20 to 50, 55. It seems like that death rate is increasing. What's the reasoning behind
Well,
this?
the incidence of cancer in the younger people is increasing, both relatively speaking, because as you screen people older than 50 and eliminate the cancer to a great extent in that age group, the percentage of patients younger is greater, but the absolute number of patients is going up. We don't know why. We assume it's something to do with either exposure to toxins or food or something in the environment in combination with a genetic predisposition to cancer. And there's a lot of effort trying to understand this. It's extremely frightening and daunting, though, when we set the bar at the age of 50 and we're seeing so many younger people with the cancer.
Can you have colon cancer without symptoms if you, let's say you're starting to have it? How long does it take for you to know? And I guess that's why it's important to get the colonoscopy, right?
Right. So most colon cancers develop from polyps, which take somewhere from 3 to 8 years to turn into cancer. So you've got a window of opportunity if you can catch the polyps at that earlier stage. Some cancers can occur more rapidly without a predisposition from a polyp. But if you find a polyp, you can essentially eradicate or eliminate the cancer because that polyp has a chance of turning into the malignancy. The challenge, though, is knowing who to screen and how to do that. Colonoscopy is not all that pleasant, or at least I've had a number of them, and I don't remember them actually.
Do you have to go under completely?
Well, so you're on, it's sort of conscious sedation. You're out. Probably the hardest part about the colonoscopy is the prep, is taking the stuff to evacuate your bowels. The reason you do that is so the colonoscopist can get a good view. That's the hardship. In fact, when they give you a little bit of sedation, for all I know, they've done the colonoscopy in somebody else because I don't remember anything about it. But it's the only way to really find definitively if you have colon cancer or not. Lots of tests, sort of imaging tests and other things, which can get a decent look. And if you find anything in the colon, of course, you need to go in and take a biopsy of it to determine what it is.
Some of the symptoms that I was reading about, change in bowel habits, bleeding, abdominal discomfort, this can be anything. Do you find that especially younger people sort of rationalize it away?
Well, I'm sure that's the reason why younger people tend to have a little more advanced cancer before you find it. The symptoms almost never develop early on in the disease anyway, and it depends on where in the colon it is. Cancers in the end of the colon, where the stool is harder, more solid, will manifest earlier because it'll block your ability to move your bowels. The stool is liquid on the right side of the colon, so a cancer may be there for years before you know about it. And all too often, it's been there long enough to have spread, and that's when it's harder to treat.
Another thing that people I just talked to is having to pay for a colonoscopy. Yeah. Insurance companies don't necessarily always cover it, especially if you don't have all the symptoms, and maybe your primary won't do that. But I think it would be better if we could knock that age requirement from 50 to 40, or do you disagree with that?
Well, I think I disagree a little bit, only in that there's a risk associated with colonoscopy. That is, 1 out of every 200 or 300 colonoscopies can be associated with damage or a problem with the procedure. So you want to be careful, and you want to make sure you're not sort of doing extra tests to no avail. Again, the key, we think, is finding genetic evidence or genes that might predispose people to colon cancer. So, for example, somebody who's died of colon cancer or a family member, those children should, of course, be screened regularly. And we need to be much more ardent about telling people who is at risk and how we should screen them and what we should do about that.
So the risk that you just mentioned, 1 in every 200 or 300, pales in comparison to the risk that you could have cancer, obviously.
Except if you do them willy-nilly, if you took 100 people or you take 300 people and one person has a major catastrophe, and you really don't find any cancers, right? So if you do it broadly across the whole population, that's a lot of damage being done trying to find the cancers. Now, if you find the cancer, it's been well worth it. And there's evidence, for example, in the state of Delaware some years ago, the main cities and the insurance agencies and the government put a big effort into screening, and they almost eliminated colon cancer within the state over the course of about 5 years. So if you really put your effort into it, you can. But still, you're going to miss some cases. And again, young people with cancer, I mean, we have a lot of 30 and 25 and 30-year-olds now with colon cancer. You're never going to screen those people. So it's the key would be to understand who is at risk, and if we could determine that, as well as, of course, what is causative at the end of the day.
Okay, more research, more money, certainly. If you would like to support and donate to cancer research on behalf of Carrie Lewis, we have more information for you to do that on KTVU.com. You'll find it in the web link section under the Mornings on 2 tab. It's also on the KTVU mobile app. Dr. Alan Venook, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Doctor.
It's our pleasure.
Thank
We'll
you.
be right back.